First, you have to get their attention. There's a story behind that. This is your daily message from Chad, number 773, to upgrade your mental game today by telling yourself a better story. Because the most important story you hear is the story you tell yourself. And this message is dedicated to Phil Knight. Phil Knight started Nike, but there would be no Nike without Bill Bowerman. And there would be no Bill Bowerman without Ursel Hedrick. Bowerman had been a troubled teenager who constantly got into fights until Principal Hedrick grabbed him by the throat and got his attention. He connected his destructive behavior to the shame it would bring upon the one person he truly respected, his mom. That moment changed Bowerman's life. Hedrick got my attention, Bowerman said 50 years later as he vividly recounted the impact it had on his life. Bowerman became a professor at the University of Oregon and ran the track program for almost a quarter of a century. He produced more sub-4-minute milers than any program in the country. Bowerman's Men of Oregon, as they would become known, won 24 NCAA individual titles in 24 years as head coach. His teams boasted 33 Olympians, 38 conference champions, and 64 All-Americans. He had 10 undefeated seasons. Phil Knight was one of his students, graduating in 1959, earning a degree in business in just 3 years. Knight counted Bowerman somewhere between a father figure and a Greek god. How did Bowerman achieve such success? The mule in the 2x4 story was Bill Bowerman's central organizing parable that he used to explain his coaching philosophy. Bowerman would tell this story to his freshman track athletes at the beginning of each season. The parable is of a farmer who couldn't get his mule to plow, eat, or drink. Desperate, he calls in a mule skinner. The expert doesn't even look at the mule, just goes straight to the barn, grabs a 2x4, and hits the mule as hard as he can between the ears. The mule drops to its knees. The mule skinner hits him again between the eyes. The farmer is horrified. That's supposed to get him to plow? That's supposed to get him to drink? The mule skinner responds, I can see you don't know a thing about mules. First, you have to get their attention. After telling this story, Bowerman would grin in what was described as fiendish. This wasn't just a colorful anecdote. It was his fair warning to his athletes. Bowerman saw himself as the mule skinner, and everything he would do to his athletes, from his harsh methods to booting them from the team when necessary, was the metaphorical 2x4 he'd use to crack open their mulish skulls so that lessons might be inserted. This philosophy came from Bowerman's own transformative experience as a troubled teenager and the life lesson he learned from Principal Hedrick. This became the foundation of Bowerman's entire teaching philosophy. Before you could teach someone anything, you first had to break through their assumptions and get their complete attention. Only then could real learning begin. The better story to tell yourself is to pay attention. Today is my 18,000th day of life. I've been hit by 2x4s a bunch of times. I am one stubborn mule, and if I can get through another 18,000 days without getting hit again, that would be preferable. It's up to me. Am I willing to pay attention and listen? If I've learned anything in the past 18,000 days, it's to pay attention to the lessons to be learned. Tell me a story that got your attention to fromchadsmith@gmail.com. You can always leave a comment on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can download my book, The Most Powerful Story in the World, by going to fromchad.gumroad.com. The transcript of this message and hundreds of others are always available at www.fromchad.com.